The MC ponders about his girlfriend dying all of a sudden. The situation was unfortunate and an accident. It's revealed she fell and slipped down a flight of stairs. This situation resulted his phone to be continuously bombarded with condolences and messages of worries from his friends and classmates from school. Never in life he thought he would not see his girlfriend anymore, and thought he would be able to see and glance her, pondering that he took that for granted as he wasn't able to do anything for her. He couldn't accept the situation, especially losing his girlfriend and not being in this world anymore. This sole reason made him not go to school for the last couple of days, staying at home and mourning alone in his heavily dark room. That's what everyone thinks about him and perceived the situation as it's devastating. But in reality he himself admits that he killed his girlfriend. He smiled, breathing a sigh of relief, as he is finally free at last, and this situation is like a dream come true for him. Now that his girlfriend is gone, he exclaims of being finally live a normal and happy life again. He now has freedom to say whatever, and do whatever he wants, but most of all, not being monitored without being questioned. We then transition to back then, as he had no idea of things turning out this way. The situation started of their fated encounter, as an eraser dropped from his table and is approached by Sarah, pointing out his eraser. As he looks at her, all he could ever think about was that Sarah was the cutest girl at our school. Seeing her made him blush and make his heart skip a beat. Being close enough and being approached by Sarah, he felt warm and happy. She has the scent of flowers and had pretty long eyebrows that matched her perfectly big round eyes with the voice of an angel. The protagonist is certain that not only she captivated him, but the other boys around the classroom. Which afterwards, in the back of the school, he could have never imagined in his wildest dreams he would get a confessions of feelings towards him. Hearing this, he has the realization that this wonderful girl, the dream of many boys in his school, would be his girlfriend from now on. His head was in the clouds as he enjoyed the moment of being loved by someone. But this all changed until that day at least. Coming home from school, his girlfriend would follow behind and stalked him, not only that she would watch and surveillance him for 24/7. She even hit up his phone every night, leading him to be wary and nervous of her. Thus one day the worst happened, where he encountered her with dark and round eyes while holding a knife. Upon seeing the sudden confrontation, he lashes out against her. Having had enough of her crazy personality, she not only followed him everywhere, but she also even installed listening device inside his room and his bag. Worst part is he put a GPS tracker without even his consent. She then went way overboard, pointing a knife against him. He questioned what does he wants from her. Upon cursing at her, she revealed that he has her now and would do anything for him, which in truth she doesn't want him to do anything else other than focusing on her and being with her possessively. She then took out her wallet, pointing out that she check it every half an hour, and it's the same as towards him. She pointed out the protagonist would also be anxious if something important goes missing. She then demanded that he would do anything she tells him, and in return she won't harm in any way if he complies peacefully. Hearing this made him sweat nervously. He shouted his frustration of not falling asleep without sleeping pills due to her toxic and possessive behavior. If she goes overboard anymore, he would report her to the police, as he doesn't want any more of this. He asks that they break up right now, but she exclaims of never doing so. With a step in her possessive eyes, she got up close, claiming she would never break up with him even if she died. Hearing this made the protagonist shudder. This made him in shock, causing him to shove her away from him, but this resulted in her falling a flight of stairs, leaving their last encounter where she tried reaching out to his hands. As she fell, the protagonist could only flee from the scene, as she perished away in a pool of blood. He also claims himself to be lucky as there were no witnesses. This resulted the investigation of the police to rule out the possibility of foul play, and thus her death was announced publicly as an accident. The MC could only relax and smile. He breathes a sigh of relief as he could finally live in peace and is excited for fun activities without getting choked by fear. But seeing the situation, he decided to skip school today as he is in the center of attention and it would be difficult for him to act sad. Sarah then suddenly questioned him, inviting him for a date. This immediately startled him. Seeing her figure, he is taken back, full of surprise as Sarah smiles seeing his reaction. With a shocked face, he questioned Sarah why is he here, claiming he already died, but it seems she is now dead but doesn't have any feet. It seems she's a spirit now. She apparently came back wanting to see him due to her undying love for her despite causing her death. He immediately jolted out of the room and came back with salt. He threw her some, asking that she should go away. He vented out his frustration, asking if she knew what he had to live with all this time. Sarah doesn't seem to understand this, and is angered by her reaction. He pointed out that his mental health is in ruins, waking up terrified every day, even as far being scared to meet and talk to people. Wondering if she came back and wanted to make him feel that way even after death. Sarah suddenly became gloomy as she is really sorry for what she had caused. But she wanted to point it out that she was still his, even if he pushed her away and hated her or even killed her accidentally. Despite all that, she still loved him and doesn't care that he was a murderer at this point. Sarah explains that since physics doesn't apply to her anymore, she would be with him even when he's doing his business in the bath, which makes her eager to see it. Hearing this made Furuya to tremble in fear and clench his fist, asking to leave him alone, admitting it was his fault anyways. And he is already nearing his limits. Sarah suddenly pointed out that she wasn't haunting him out of free will anyways. It seems if she could move on to the other world, she would already did it. She claims if Furuya wanted her gone and to go away, he gotta make sure she has no regrets left. Hearing this made him wobble, falling down to his knees, questioning how is it possible that he's seeing spirits. But much more terrifying than this was the thought that he can't break up with her even after death. Left with no other choice, he wanted to know how to make her moved on. She exclaims of having a request for him, as after all he caused her death and the least he could do is hear her out. Hearing this made him traumatized, causing him to shove her away. But seeing his hands go through her, he felt powerless and helpless as she can't touch her anyways. And if he wanted to break up with her badly, he is left with no choice but to listen. Beggars can't be choosers at this point. As the next morning arrives, it seems Sarah was happily enjoying going out for a date. Noticing Furuya's silent gaze, she calls this out, but he made a point that no one else can see her and it would be weird if he started talking to himself. Furuya finds himself once again stuck with her even after her death, but it seems he rather listened to her demands and make her move on, which is why he went out trying to fulfill her request. It seems her demands were oddly simple enough and she just wanted a date all along. As they slowly arrived to the cafe, he finds her to look like an ordinary girl and not a crazy deranged love-struck one despite being a ghost. As he headed inside, he got a seat just for one. Upon sitting down, Furuya seems confused as Sarah is a ghost and can't eat and taste the food. Upon taking a bite, it seems the food was just a regular shortcake. Hearing this made her ecstatic and asks for a taste. He pointed out the weirdness of this, but it seems this was part of her request. Upon doing so, it seems this was still not possible. Sarah could only smile, leaving him to be stunned. For Furuya this might seem dumb, but he also noticed that Sarah looked sad. It seems today was the first time they spent a day like this, and he sensed something was off about Sarah on the day they started dating after all. And for better or worse, she always did have a smile on her face, which it caught him by surprise. It may only seem natural, but he supposed that his dead girlfriend can have a frown on her face too. As they finished their date, Sarah seems satisfied and is grateful for going together. It seems he never replied to her messages when she was still alive, which is why she couldn't invite her. Furuya only is now realizing this and apologizes, pondering of how strange this was, as this doesn't seem right. A question pops up in his head: if Sarah was always normal. Previously in his mind he always see her as a stalker and always kept tabs on him, but right now he finds her really cute. He doesn't even know what's going on in his head despite being the one who ended her life. It seems for Sarah, when she was still alive, she knew herself stood out from the rest of the girls. With this information, her mind was filled with the thoughts that other girls would have their eyes on him because of her. Thus she panicked. It seems she wanted to spend her days normal and in tranquil like this. She also apologized for what she's done tormenting him. Furuya is left in shock, not believing the words coming out of her mouth, as this is the first time he heard her feelings, but realized he never asked in the first place, as back then he was desperately trying to protect himself. He then suddenly wonders if he was wrong and overthink everything leading to her death, and ponders if this was all his fault. Furuya then questioned Sarah if she hates him, but Sarah doesn't seem bothered, as she is glad to be dead if they could go on dates like this more often. She then exclaims one of her requests, asking that he don't turn himself in, as she is not mad or filled with anger due to dying because of his hands. With this in mind, he tries to assure himself with her words not needing to be guilty and that she was all along a stalker. With this in mind of not doing anything wrong, he wonders if he could really say that. After that date, all of Sarah's requests were more of things that couples do. It seems she didn't show any stalking behavior either. And she was just an ordinary cute girlfriend, only different was she was a ghost. As days passed, he returned to school, and it seems there was a vase of flowers sitting on Sarah's desk and it was cared for. It seems no one at school also knew she was a stalker and was obviously loved by their classmates. Right now his mind doesn't seem to find her scary at all. As school ends, Furuya questioned if Sarah wants anything for her birthday. It seems she also was surprised he remembered. She then requested to hold hands and can act they are actually touching. With no hesitation he reached his hands out, but it seems his eyes seemed more and more dead all of a sudden. Finding Sarah to find happiness in the simplest things, he is troubled to not be able to hold her hands again. He then suddenly had tears falling and was crying in the middle of the crowd, pondering of how this was all his fault and Sarah could only pretend due to his overthinking. Then one day Furuya suddenly skipped classes. He then questioned Sarah if spirits can touch each other. She reveals they can do so as she bump into those spirits who also haven't moved on from time to time. Hearing this made Furuya to climb over the fence at the edge. He apologizes they couldn't hold hands on her birthday. Sarah shouts at him to stop and doesn't care about that matter. Furuya, not listening, could only ponders as no matter the reason he seemingly just can't live with himself knowing he killed another person. It seems he couldn't come off the sleeping pills even after Sarah died. In fact, he had to take more instead. It seems he realized that it's not her fault he was suffering, but from the beginning it was his. Not listening to her feelings and feeling relieved that she died back then, he could never forgive himself for thinking that way. Not being able to turn himself in, he doesn't feel living anymore with this guilt. With a smile on his face, it seems the suffering he faces is about to soon end, telling Sarah that she did nothing wrong as it was his fault and didn't consider her feelings. And if dying means she could move on too, she apologized for finding a boyfriend like him in the first place. With this he stepped off the ledge. Sarah on the other hand tries to reach for him with an anxious face. But despite this, she didn't have any means to stop him. Furuya now looks in despair, standing over his body. It seems in the end he turned into a spirit much faster than expected. Sarah rushed to his side, being able to touch him, as she cries and calls him an idiot. Furuya looks contempt and apologizes for making her sad, and tells her to move on as there is no need to stick around. Sarah tries to vent out her feelings and argue of being happy just being around him. She tells him of having so much to do when he was alive, but rather finds this circumstances to be better. Sarah then turned her frown into a psychopathic smile, happily calling Furuya to be a big idiot. She compliments of how good her acting was, and is now happy she could touch him. Furuya still doesn't seem to get the situation. It seems all this time Sarah was waiting for him to die and was only acting the entire duration. It seems it was meaningless if she couldn't touch him, but decided to fill him with guilt so that he would eventually walk towards his own death. Which was exactly what he did and was fun. Furuya now realizing he was tricked. Sarah could only point the fault towards him as she didn't ask him anything for her. With deranged eyes she insults him, that his dumbass shouldn't have decided to push and killed her if he is going to be haunted by something stupid like guilt. It seems she also finds this cute about him, and barrages him with words that makes this everything his fault. And now that they are together again, he would also be stuck with her in the same realm for eternity. Giving Sarah her happy suffering ending and Furuya the deserved ending he has coming for him. We then transition to the after-story happy ending where the cicada woman creature became the MC's wife. It seems she is overjoyed and happy as it's finally Friday with the entire weekend ahead. It seems the MC promised to get home earlier and would take her on a date somewhere. Hearing this made her smile as she wanted it to be always like this. Excited for it, she is eager to see him. She promptly got ready as tonight she would do her best, but later on it seems the MC finds the situation nerve-wracking and bad as it's almost 12 midnight. It seems a sudden major problem happened at work, causing him to be overtime as he headed inside his home. It seems the MC already foresee that her wife is already mad at him as he already promised to get home early. Upon announcing his arrival, he finds her to be sitting still, calm and silent, which he nervously approached the dinner table complimenting the food. Hearing her sarcastic comment on the food being better if it was hot, he suddenly apologized and tried making amends. His wife suddenly exclaims, demanding that he owes her the entire night of care. Hearing this made the MC confused as it's already late and insists doing it in the morning as he is tired, but she of course pushes the idea and insists, which left him no other choice. Hearing this made her overjoyed, waiting for so long, as the fun was about to start and are about to make babies till one drops, but she was met with disappointment as his sword is so little and unenergetic. It seems it can't be helped due to exhaustion, which left her to eat the rod and make it go up again. It seems she held the rod, drooling over it and complimenting the strong pulse. She then decided to push him on the bed and laid on top, claiming dominance, asking to be given it all. This seems to make her feel absorbed and finds the MC adorable with possessive eyes. It seems she likes it getting hit in the deepest spots. She then asks for it to be given, all of it to her. After this she was left satisfied and cleaned up the juice that has spilled and insists they go till the morning. As the next day arrives, they finished the meal and the MC complimenting of loving her meals as always. She then suddenly muttered of him being a liar. She seems to point out that her husband the MC has been going home after midnight recently and kept saying of not having an appetite for supper. She then pointed out he doesn't give her much affection and always claims of being tired. She then calls him out. With dark eyes she ponders if he was possible cheating on her. Hearing this made the MC to be confused, but he then got up and claims of not being able to do those things towards her as he only love her. Hearing this melted her heart, which then she insists on baby making tonight. Later on as night arrives she was eager to make the MC loose his head over her. Hearing this made her flustered. It seems she was surprised for the sudden initiative but was glad. After this she was left satisfied and filled to the brim. She then compliments how amazing he was and adores him. It seems she wanted another night of endless baby-making time. The MC hearing this could only abide and fears for his life as his wife smiles happily. After this they live happily ever after as the MC gets his life sucked out of him every night.
The story starts off where a man could be seen exhausted pondering what is drawing him to this place. It seems 10 years ago he ended up moving away from the countryside, where he lived with his parents for a while and was taken by his uncle who lived in the city. It seems one day out of the blue he just lost it and suddenly started fearing coming near his own house. He was crying and trembling with fear, wanting to get away from his own house. It seems he doesn't have a clear memory of that day, but no matter what he doesn't seem to be able to remember anything, almost as if his mind was trying to block the memory on that fateful day. In his rationale thinking, if he had forgotten something he should try to remember it at least. He admittedly had this feelings of dread at the back of his mind but found himself asking the same question over and over again. As he arrived back at his old home, he questioned what had happened here 10 years ago. Upon ringing the doorbell, he greeted his mother as it has been a while. Despite seeing him after 10 years since he moved out, she worries about him coming here all of a sudden. He explains having something he wanted to take care of, but his mother is nervous, wondering if he's alright, as he said that he was so scared he would never come here again, and after all this time he had just done that. It seems he came here relating to that, and have a favor to ask Dad and her. Upon having a sit down, his parents is eager to listen and hear the truth on coming him to take care of something. He tells them it's nothing major and pointed towards the storehouse behind their place, wanting to borrow it for a little bit. His father is not one to be stingy in giving the key, but wonders what does he wants to go in there for. It seems he wanted to confirm something for himself. He ponders if it's just a mistake on his part, then he would feel fine with it. But he just wanted to get rid of the nagging feeling he has, and wanted to go in and look inside, and if nothing happens he would move on, and once he does that then a peace of mind would be to settle. As he nears the door his head seems to hurt and feels like it's splitting in two. He sweats nervously, questioning what had happened here 10 years ago. Upon stepping foot inside, he shine a light filling in the dark warehouse. As he headed inside he described it being dark, moist and misty odor. Just like the untouched insides of your mother, unlike the outside where it's hot and could pass out, inside this place is eerily cold. But then again he doesn't find this strange, as more storehouses are like this. It seems his head started hurting really bad, wondering if something happened here 10 years ago to him. It seems it's pretty dirty inside, as he might have been the first person to enter this place since that day 10 years ago. He also seemed to picked up a wooden doll. Nothing important. He brushes this off, as ever since that day 10 years ago his parents were probably avoiding this place. However, there wasn't anything scary in this place, as it's just some old books and cupboards. There also wasn't anything that he saw made him feel fear at the back of his mind. He wonders if his past event was just nothing, wondering what he is so afraid of. A sudden creak of the door closing could be heard, causing him to be startled. He shouted who was with him inside the darkness. He ponders if it's his parents, but if either of them came they would have called out to him, as he assures as nobody else would come here. He got scared all of a sudden as a woman creature with wings greets him a welcome, questioning what would he like to play. He suddenly shouted but was instantly asked to keep his voice down using her powers, causing his voice to not be let out. It seems she was waiting for him to come back, and is happy that they are able to meet again. She has been waiting for so long to play with him and could barely stand waiting. She also claims of not being able to play with anyone but him. Eager to play, she wanted to see how he is as an adult. She then exclaims of playing an adult game. She finds him cute when afraid, but wanted to see his wonderfully innocent smile as well. As she uses her hands to get inside his mouth, She wanted to see his exuberant side and gratified side, as well as she explains her body is eager waiting for so long it started writing in agony. She also touched his sword, wanting him to also make it stand up, and wonders what would happen if she put it between her marshmallows. As she slowly squished in against his marshmallows, it blew the babies away, and made him lose consciousness, and loses his mind inside as the cicada creature woman claims to play together forever and ever. As she expresses her happiness, he suddenly mentioned that he ran away from her afraid 10 years ago. As he cries in despair, he had gotten away from here so he would never see her again. It seems he regrets his choice of coming back here. The creature woman suddenly mentioned if he was mistaken of it being 10 years ago. It seems it's today that it occurred and he was misremembering things. As he held him tightly, he became confused hearing her words. She explains all this time he has not separated from her at all and have enjoyed each other's company this entire time, playing happily together for all eternity. She doesn't need a time when they are not together. She is obsessive and do not want part of it and have no need for it whatsoever. Pushing the idea that it's the same for him also. Hearing this made him scream and run in a panic. In his thoughts all he could ponder was needing to get away from far away and to hurry up in escaping being her captive. He is eager to not ever go near this storehouse again. He ran all with his might, screaming at the top of his lungs. But we then transitioned to him being his adult self and making his head hurt, splitting into two. A hand suddenly reached out from the darkness, welcoming him back. It seems he vividly remembers the past events that occurred in this storehouse, even the words in his head calling out a monster. We suddenly transitioned to him outside, breathing heavily, wondering if this was all a dream as he experienced another throbbing headache. It seems he is on a repeat of some sort where the creature monster tamper with his memories. And the time inside the storehouse is different than the outside, as he repeat the cycle of coming back to his parents' house. As the unexplained still lingers, all he know was that it was a terrifying event for him. It seems what he encountered those many years ago still remains, waiting for him, not remembering much of the specifics as the memory is closed off, forming a lid that has been shut. He didn't came back just to flee from whatever horror lies here. Sweat soaks him heavily as his heart beats like thunder and a pulsing pain stabs his eye and legs threaten to freeze in place. But curiosity got the best of him due to the cause of this fear on what he encountered 10 years ago. Only after he learned what it was then he would be able to leave it behind. As he again entered the storehouse with a flashlight, it seems the air is suffocating. Upon finding nothing, he ponders if it's just his imagination, but he then noticed a wooden doll. He questioned what it's doing here, as he doesn't remember ever storing this away, yet he finds something familiar about this. A large figure suddenly creeped up behind him, welcoming him back again. She exclaims of being glad to see him again, wondering if he was waiting for her as well. As soon as he shouted in fear, he was immediately quiet, using her unexplained powers. She eagerly wanted to have fun and to have lots of playtime together. He became confused, wondering if he's someone special to her as he doesn't understand. It seems he finally put two and two together and finally got his memories back together again. Hearing this made her delighted. This storehouse was where it all happened, being caught like this many times, and now that he has been caught, it seems he has gone back to the moment 10 years ago, causing him to be terrified and wants to escape. The woman creature claims he won't escape her again, as she hugs him tightly, complimenting that he makes such a lovely partner. Slowly caressing him and inserting her hands inside him, it seems she finds him adorable and shall pamper as much as she possibly can. As she slowly pampers her, she seems to caught on his sword rising. She eagerly did her best doing the deed and causing him to release lots of babies. Being in the palm of her hands, he is left no choice but to sit still and be held captive against his will. As the creature woman caresses and asks him to play adults again, she seems to see him as a couple, and for a long time she would like to happily get to know each other. After this, it seems he did the same as always during these cycles. It seems he chose to act the same, as there was nothing he could have done inside the warehouse. As he was crying, a voice could be heard asking him to come back. He seems to hear a voice of familiarity, as it was his mother. It seems he remembered late coming after playing for so long, which resulted his mother to come looking for him. As his mother near the entrance of the storehouse, his hopelessness seems to vanish seeing hope. As his mother entered and was talking to him questioning what he was doing in a place like this, she is horrified to see a creature of unknown. The woman creature suddenly became possessive, claiming that again she was interfering, indicating that this isn't their first encounter, as his mother shouts at her to release her son. She suddenly screams in pain and agony, collapsing from the sudden pain. Seeing this made him jumped up. The woman creature questioned if he will leave her, as she waited for him for a long time. Horrified, he let go of her hands, asking to get away from him. As he runs away, he eagerly awaits escaping and fleeing with his mother from the horrible place and to never come back. This left the creature woman to cry and be in tears. Upon going outside, she claims as they will once again meet. Leaving him to tend to his mother, questioning the situation. Again he reverted back to the time in the future where every time he tries to remember a piercing pain stabs his head, as he tries questioning his sanity and the situation. The door opened once again, welcoming him back. We then transition to the MC trying to call out for help, clawing his way out, asking the door. He shouts his frustration, wanting to keep moving forward, as he already suffered year after year, asking to forgive him for whatever sin he ever did. A hand suddenly reached out, claiming they haven't even begun the fun yet. As he tries to turn around, he is once again back at the entrance, wondering if he once again imagined this, as he was about to once again enter the warehouse, claiming having nightmares like fears, as if he was trapped in an endless cycle. Upon entering, he suddenly reverted back to being a kid, but add to this his mother was in pain. Upon rushing to her aid and trying to see her condition, his mother suddenly started throwing up blood. He suddenly became horrified, but the entire time he was holding a key. Still once again back to the outside of the storehouse. It seems this is the finale, but upon waking up it seems all this time he was still trapped by the creature woman. He cried and cried. It seems the creature claims to be his wife now, and with obsessive eyes she asks that they should be happy together, as they have done the deed once again. It seems he was trapped on a never-ending nightmare with her. But this time he suddenly woke up from a nightmare screaming. All of these scenes were supposedly nightmares. Upon snoozing the time, he was heading back to the countryside, putting us on the beginning. It seems he tries recollecting his thoughts before heading back. It seems he wanted to put a stop to the nightmares and the never-ending horrible cycle. As he stood once again to the door of the storehouse, he is confident he would put a stop to this and wants to keep moving forward. We suddenly get a glimpse inside. As the creature woman claims of getting impatient, making her mad, it seems she claims the true end is just a little while away. As she vents her frustration, a voice could be heard calling her out to be her mother, being a worrywart. It seems inside the storehouse space she gave birth to their child, where she claims that their father would bring lots of happiness for them, claiming him to be his father after all. We then transition to the MC apologizing to the manager, wanting to take the whole week off next week. It seems he was working at a convenience store for part-time. His company workers talked badly about him, calling him a total freak and a big introvert. As he once again headed to his old house once again, he was greeted by his mother, seeing him to be such a surprised, as he once again was lent the key to the shed in the back. He entered once again, describing the same thoughts previously, but this time he found the dirty doll again. As the door shuts closed behind him, he was welcomed again by the creature woman, expressing her happiness. It seems she was clearly non-human. It seems 10 years has passed, but despite that she still looked forward to this moment, doing her best and waiting for him to come back. A child of the non-human creature suddenly pops up, waiting for his arrival, and being happy seeing his actual father. Being overjoyed, waiting for him forever, he asks that they should stop messing with him, as he called them monsters and not having a child like her. Hearing this made his child to use her powers to strangle him, calling him out for being mean. As the non-human creature mother comfort their child, she explained that her father was confused, not remembering anything. As she assures the situation, they both eagerly asks that they should have some family fun. This made his body suddenly got hot. As they take off his clothes, they suddenly ravaged his body, causing him to be dizzy and fuzzy. Not being able to be moved, they went ahead and did the deed as their child watched. Their child found his face to be cute. It seems he finally remembered what had happened 10 years ago, resulting in him being assaulted here, time and time again, and this resulted to her giving birth to their daughter. Their child suddenly exclaims of being envy of her mother wanting his baby seeds too. The mother agrees to let her daughter do it also, causing him to be in fear. As she poses her daughter for their first time, the MC asks to stop the madness as he can't control his body and doesn't want to do any of this. As his body moves on its own, he entered his sword on the hole. As the rest continues, the non-human creature could only exclaims its happiness, always adoring and loving the MC. Being ecstatic of their fun time, it seems both of them finds this to not be enough at all, waiting to play more. Later on he questioned why did this madness happen to him, begging to be released and set free. The MC's non-human wife questioned the sad look on his face. Even though he got totally satisfied, the MC explains that he would have to relive these past 10 years and to keep suffering again and again, forever, always going back around and around. His child suddenly spoke up he would be fine and shouldn't worry as they would be here for him. Upon asking what do they mean by this, they then reveal somebody would take his place. Behind him a doll-like creature stood up exactly looking like him. It seems his non-human wife made this doll out of a cocoon, so they could raise their child. It seems they made a replacement so the real him won't ever need to go outside again, and they won't be bothered by anyone ever again, claiming they can stay here forever. Hearing this made the MC filled with anxiety and fear, trying to reach out and asks that it shouldn't go off, as if it went outside his life will be over. The MC's non-human wife claims that this is the beginning of the happy time they will spend as a family. His child also claims they would be taking lots of his baby seeds, wanting to work hard. It seems he can't stop the madness to unfold, crying and begging them to stop as he just wanted to move forward. As the doll creature like him steps out, his mother questioned his mimic as they were worried. This mimic acted like him, and claiming to not be scared of the shed anymore. Upon locking the door, he claims it's okay now as he became a proper adult, handing over the key, being done with what he needed to finished, as he will be moving forward. This left the real MC to be trapped in a never-ending cycle of madness, forever put against his will, thus ending out story. The story might be confusing but is definitely an interesting read.
The story starts as Inasaki-kun gets called by an unexpected girl that has her eyes on him for quite a while, and this woman was called Sanami. He labels her as a dangerous person. Her tenacity is impressive as once she has her eyes on you, you can't escape. Sanami-san doesn't seem to have many friends, especially female ones. But despite this, her family has a high standing in society. Being born rich and having good grades, she is top tier, having large melons and a figure that is outstanding. Her appearance tops this off for having the perfect combination of cute and beautiful features. However, Inasaki-kun is wary, as one would understand when you approach her, that you can somehow feel that Sanami is surrounded by a dark aura around her. But above all, she is clingy and her eyes are very scary. She greeted Inasaki-kun good morning, looking crazy and sniffing his scent, scaring him. She then mentioned his scent smelling like anti-mosquito incense, a relaxing scent that repels bugs. It's then revealed she knew his household situation, mentioning his mother burning some anti-mosquito yesterday due to a fly. Inasaki-kun questioned how does she knew this, but with the dreadful and dark eyes she could only tell that she knew everything about him due to the reason she wants to slice and scatter and make minced meat out of him at this point. Inasaki-kun disagrees and asks that she shall not do any harm. This caused her to realize her embarrassment. Blushing away while throwing insults, Her friends afterwards questioned what does he thinks of Sanami. He revealed the truth as it's not love or hatred but fear instilled inside him. Before he even realized it, Sanami got a hold of his contact address and sent him emails repeatedly. Even though he doesn't let anyone know about his whereabouts, she always seemed to be following. And strangely enough, he would always feel like being watched wherever he goes. His friends could only label her as a definite stalker at this point. Inasaki-kun tries to tell this story to others, but they all deemed her to be dangerous and is treated as the villain of a horror movie. His friends agree as it's quite horrifying to experience this. His friends could only suggest that he should make a plan to hate him. This way it won't be directly rejecting her but making her reject Insaki-kun instead. The plan seems clear but is questioned is how, as he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. Later he tried to take action by approaching her in the stairs. He then revealed loving anime and figurine that airs in the Sunday mornings. As he exclaims his creepy and weird otaku side. They all questioned if Sanami-san would run away and reject him at this point. But to everyone's surprise, she exclaims of already knowing the truth. With dark eyes she stared at him for a brief moment, before fully explaining that he is a massive otaku lover, even having a body pillow while he slept, even as far in taking part of the costume event which he participated in a self-made costume. She even revealed having photos and wanted to reveal it, but Inasaki-kun could only ask that she stops and could feel the gaze of his two friends on their disbelief, as he really is a weird and otaku dude. Even though Inasaki-kun didn't want to hurt Sanami's feelings, but instead he was the one who got hurt. As his friends pointed out, it was certainly unexpected. They all noticed the way of his eating to be neat. He briefly explained it was due to the reason of his parents being strict. As Inasaki noticed Sanami approaching to also eat and intrude, he suddenly got a bright idea. He made gross faces while chewing his food to make him be hated by Sanami. His friends noticed this and found it to be disturbing. They all expected her to run away. But to their surprise she seems to fall in love deeply on how the way he eats, making it look good. She then reached towards his face full of crumbs and eating it for herself in an affectionate way, with a flirtatious eyes and looks. Inasaki suddenly dropped his mushroom, causing Sanami to suddenly go crazy, almost tearing off his sword, but in the process she suddenly bumped into the fat and ugly classmate, leaving Inasaki to fear for himself. His friends is worried as if things go like this. Can't he just ignore her and not pay her any attention? Inasaki exclaims that he isn't willing to do that, but things will get worse at this point if he even tried to give her attention. As Sanami tries approaching him all day, she only just got ignored and was met with silence. As the day almost ends, he could only ponders how his consciousness and heart hurts, questioning if it's really fine ignoring her all day long. But a suddenly loud noise caused him to notice Sanami's downfall. Upon a closer look she almost turned into the grudge, shivering with a dark and scary look on her face. She could only mutter that he must only look at her and not ignore her. But Inasaki could only want to look the other way, causing him to be chased endlessly by a crazy yandere. As Sanami catches up to him, she managed to caught onto his legs, causing him to have a heavy fall and lose consciousness, shortly after waking up in the nurse room. He is left fascinated and shocked to see her on top of him with little to no clothing. As Sanami finds him to be awoken, she immediately questioned if he was alright and is hurt anywhere, even as far checking if he remembered her identity. With assurance she finds peace of mind knowing he's alright. She then revealed rushing her to a hospital directed by one of her father's friends, doing a thorough examination and finding nothing. Hearing this made him to be in shock. Sanami ponders as it seems he was avoiding her all this time. She thought her appearance would give him interest, but instead he kept running away, and thought he had a serious illness which made him forget about her. Hearing this made Inasaki to ponder that he probably misunderstood her a little, and just thought Sanami to be a little earnest, and to begin with she doesn't really knew Sanami. Later he talked to his friends revealing that they both are going out, and wants to understand more about her. Inasaki's friends could only be wary about the two of them. But as the day ends it seems he forgot his lunch bunch inside his desk. Hearing this, Sanami insists on getting it for him. In the classroom she managed to get the lunchbox, but with scary and hungry eyes, she checked if anyone is in the room beforehand. She chewed and chomped on the chopsticks left by Inasaki. But upon hearing footsteps she quickly hid in a panic, as an unfamiliar voice could be heard. She speculates it was Inasaki-kun, but upon opening the locker she is met face to face with the fat classmate, staring blankly at her for appearing suddenly. With a shock and horrible look on her face, she gave an uppercut because of her frustration, being gazed silently by Inasaki-kun. After this he still ponders if it's possible how can he make a girl who loves him reject her, while holding back from answering definitively. His friend could only look and listen, giving the advice to just compromise just a little. The title of this manga is Mutual Love. The story begins as a loud crash could be heard in the school hallway. Tanaka once again bumped into a fellow female classmate. He got scolded for bumping onto her too much at school. Questioning if he has a crush on her, he tries brushing this off, as Inu hurriedly bid farewell, asking to see each other again later. Tanaka is left alone and seems to picked up a strand of hair from Inu earlier. He put this in his pockets and decides to leave home. Later that night back at home, Tanaka all along was collecting her hair strands for his collections. He seemingly has an obsession of love towards her. We then revealed that Inu is watching him inside his room, as she also is an obsessive and yandere person that loves Tanaka so much that she has his face plastered all over her walls. She eagerly awaits what's the next thing she would take from her. As Tanaka was admiring Inu and her face in posters plastered all over the walls, his little sister seemingly barged in unnoticed. This made him immediately panic all of a sudden, which his little sister calls him out for being gross doing so. Tanaka exclaims that she should properly knock before entering, but hearing this she immediately claims herself that he should be grateful that his adorable little sister went to his older brother's dirty room after going home, and he shouldn't have an attitude from him. It seems all she wants is a warm hug with a welcome home gesture from him. This left Tanaka no choice but to spoil his little sister, showcasing their sibling love to one another. Even though she talks bad towards him in a sarcastic way, she noticed the stuffed toy which Tanaka is keeping as it came from a gift from his crush. The little sister asks they should throw it away as it's gross and doesn't suit him. Upon showing her anger, she insists on throwing this away as her older brother doesn't need this stuff. Hearing Maid Inu darkened her eyes upon listening to their conversation. Tanaka immediately a horrid and unpleasant face exclaiming it's important to him. This made his little sister cry, poking his eyes and calling him a dummy. For Inu her vision of Tanaka became like a shining armor. With pretty eyes she immediately became excited hearing him defend her gift. She then glamorized of the thought that it's important for him, and she really is glad he gave it to him. We flash back to the time when the present was given, In class, as she was giving out gifts, she then had the idea of bumping into Tanaka head-on. Like a tsundere, she asks if he would be delighted to receive some gifts, which he immediately got excited, wanting to accept anything she have. Upon revealing the gift of a teddy bear, Tanaka questioned if it's alright to receive this as it seems precious to her. But Enro only asks with a pleasant and warming voice that he takes good care of it. Embarrassed by this, Tanaka couldn't believe her words, making both of them blush. As he shortly left, Enro's classmates questioned what she wanted the most. Although she didn't answer properly and wanted to keep it hidden, she deviously wanted the most was gifting Tanaka a surveillance camera on the teddy bear she gave to spy on him. We then transitioned to a woman standing over the edge of a bridge, remembering the hurtful words and the amount of times that she was pushed away and the agonizing pain of being rejected. Being left by her lover, tired and full of regrets, she wanted to finish it all as she cries heavily. Tanaka, on the other hand, was walking along the bridge when he noticed a woman over the edge ready to jump. Without hesitation, he grabbed onto the woman clinging onto the rails. Both became surprised by one another, but shockingly fortunate the bridge wasn't high enough and the water wasn't deep enough. Thus they both came out unscathed, but although drenched. Tanaka immediately questioned the woman if she was alright and what she was doing was dangerous. He asked that she shouldn't take her life that easily. Upon being relieved, he suddenly catch a cold. Thus the woman insists going to her nearby house to dry, ultimately dragging him along. Tanaka followed along, which he suddenly noticed the amazing apartment. The woman revealed it's her dad's building and it's too much for two-person. As she welcomed him in, he suddenly became surprised over the extravagant place. Even as he entered the bathroom, all he could ponder was that this older sister he saved was too rich. Shortly after, he was welcome, being served with the finest food she could ever. Exclaiming it's not enough, as he saved her life after all. With stunning eyes, all she could ever ask was that he won't be shy, as she loves entertaining her guests. Hearing this made Tanaka to dig in for the food she served, even getting complimented for being too kind. This made her blush, asking not to tease the older people. Although Tanaka didn't mean to, he seems to not notice his quick, pleasing personality towards women. He suddenly got a notification sound from his phone indicating his little sister was trying to look for him. As he thanked for everything and being welcomed, he then had the idea of leaving her, as he doesn't know what's going on that much, but asks that she doesn't let it get to her. Tanaka left him messaging app number, asking her to reach out as he would listen to her problems. She became grateful, being grateful for the kind gesture. Which, after leaving shortly, all she could think of was about Tanaka and wanted to be near him every single day. It's then revealed with dark and obsessive eyes she wanted to lock him up. With a firm decision, she decided to plan in doing so, as she is confident Tanaka also wanted to be near each other forever. Later that night, as Tanaka arrives home, his little sister suddenly rushed towards him, causing them to crash outside. As she calls him out for being an idiot, she questioned where he has been, as it's already late enough, and was worried. But upon sniffing his clothes, she immediately started panicking as she could smell something different. With dreadful eyes, she exclaims with anger that his clothes smells weird, indicating that he must be playing around with other women. Tanaka asks if he could explain, but his little sister disregards this and hurriedly dashes to grab something. She shortly came back with new clean clothes, asking that he should march straight to the bathroom. It seems he has his clothes washed with some other detergents, asking he should not dare do that again. In the bathroom, little sister Yua insists on coming with him, showing her brotherly love. She insists that his brother won't have any objections, as she insists on helping him wash away his stupid smell. She also revealed going in with a swimsuit. In the bathroom, Tanaka is forced to be washed by his little sister. As he asks her to go away, she held on tightly, squeezing him. She then questioned him if he got himself a girlfriend. Tanaka questioned her on what made her think that way. It's also revealed she was listening to his heartbeat, which didn't spike, indicating he was telling the truth. She then exclaims of trusting him this time, but in exchange she would hang out in his room tonight. Tanaka agrees and asks that she go already, but upon pushing her, a knife suddenly dropped from behind them. Seeing this made him jump out of fear, all of a sudden questioning why is it in the bathroom. Yoa claims of bringing it along just in case she found out he has a girlfriend, although it seems he doesn't have one, claiming he won't be chasing girls behind her back anyways, as he already have such an adorable sister. After all, Tanaka was left all alone in the bathroom to ponder what she was on about. But shortly after, in his room, he explained the whole situation to her, and in you as they both listened, and all could ever think about was trying to end the life of the woman who approached him, which then the older one, San, reached out to Tanaka that night, starting their love triangle towards him. The next day, Yua is angry by the fact that his brother Tanaka forgot his lunch, and was forced to bring it to him in his school. As she gazed into the classroom, his friends was with him trying to imitate anime punches and doing boys stuff. Yua questioned their actions but is troubled as she can't seem to barge in and say something, pondering to immediately be noticed by her older brother, as she is only tough at home. She suddenly got startled as Inu approached quietly, questioning what's a first year like her doing up here. But upon observing her, she immediately understood that she was a relative looking for Tanaka. Upon knowing so, she insists on calling him for her. As she called his name, he immediately became quick to notice her, spinning his head wildly towards her direction and rushing in towards them. As he was given his bento, Inu bids farewell as her job is done. Yua could only ponder how beautiful and how good she smells. But she then noticed a small bear toy on her phone, questioning as this is the same toy on her brother's room. She seemingly found this fishy, questioning her name, but brushes it off as Tanaka head pats her aggressively, showcasing their sister and brother shenanigans. But from behind, Inu looms with dark eyes as the story continues.
The title of this manga is Kirwa-san After School and Or no Koto ga Daikarai na Muda ga Kawi. The story begins as we focus on a girl named Kirwa-san, who sits right next to him. He ponders as to what she is always doing by herself after school. Although she seems to have friends to get along with, he doesn't seem to walk home with them nor interact much, as she just remain in the classroom afterwards. Her friends called out to her attention, as her friends bid farewell to her, which she doesn't plan on going home yet, and immediately goes back to scribbling something on her notebook. As her friends leave her behind, as she always stays after school all the time, as our high school boy is curious as to what she does. He leans onto her and wonders what she is up to. He talked to her as he noticed she doesn't go home until late at night. As she finally noticed him, she starts sweating as he finally knew that all along she was drawing manga, and he compliments her for her amazing artwork. This made her freeze up but also doesn't believe him for a bit. After the interaction with Kirwa-san for a bit, they chatted for a while, and she apparently draws manga as a hobby, but she is too embarrassed to let anyone find out. With that, his curiosity was sated as he decides to cheer for her in silence from now on. But to his surprise, he got approached by Kirwa-san as she smiles with a grim and dark look on her face. This made him questions her as he feels special, but she explains she only wants an honest reader feedback from an ordinary person. He suggests uploading it to the internet, but she's too scared and wants to originally keep it a secret that she drew manga. But since he got involved, she became more furious as it all happened too fast. But she's glad that it happened. With this, she made him her accomplice. Although she doesn't drew crime manga though, he points out that if she want to keep it under wraps that badly, why didn't she wait for him to go home before she starts drawing? Her intention was keeping a decoy on whoever passes by, but since he found it, it's no use at hiding it, as she was too focusing in drawing, making her look like an airhead. She scribbles away drawing her manga as he looks at her, fascinated by this. He praises her in a moment of silence that he looks really cool when she draws her manga. This made Kirwa-san trembles as she became flustered and became confused as she can't really express herself right. He laughs at her, then mocks and compliments her for being good at drawing facial expressions but so bad at making them in real life. She says she's a lost cause towards that, and he basically said it's not hard at all, as he wants her to try right now on making that expressions. At this point, she had no choice as she made a smiling expression, which she looks like she just made a grin expression with her awkward smile and awkward emotion with it. This confuses him as he doesn't know what he's looking at. She's lumped down as she became sad, as it was hopeless to make a proper expression in real life, and she should just stick to drawing. He apologizes for making her feel this way and offer her to buy a drink as a form of apology as she scribbles away. Kirwa-san wanted strawberry milk, to which he got her, which we cut back to him judging her manga art and getting his opinion on the matter. He expressed himself that the whole setting with the gods and objects are interesting, and overall the art looked good for what the situation is. He goes in depth to the whole manga as the scene of the knife cutter god she is drawing, it would be more alive, like if it was moving. He got the idea from his friend as he comments on how intense or depressing it is, and it's the action for those characters that attract manga fans when they read something. Kirwa-san is overjoyed as she found this advice to be really helpful as she holds his hands tightly. She wouldn't be able to realize this any sooner by herself, and praises him for having a keen eye as she wants to correct this the next time. He became embarrassed due to her holding his hands and pointed it out to her. As she looks down, she realizes she did something embarrassing and she apologizes for holding his hand. He realized all along she could make a normal face even if the situation calls for it. After this, he is glad to be able to help her. And that ended our interaction between the two of them. After finishing the artwork, we cut into him as his friend wonders why he is glued into his screen phone lately. He finds him reading manga as he recently picked up a new hobby. His friend also pointed out that he has been hanging out with Kirwa-san after school and wonders why. He pushed the idea again onto him as he smirks and makes fun of him. He looked flustered and his friend realized. Kirwa-san entered the classroom and decided to leave them alone, being the best wingman as he gave space with their lovey-dovey session. Upon being alone, the two sat in silence and in awkwardness as he became flustered hearing his friend earlier, and that this made the situation uncomfortable him as he thinks of their situation. With this knowledge, he feels unnecessarily self-conscious. He got surprised as Kirwa-san called out to him. She explains that he doesn't need to keep her company all day every day as she could do this by herself. As this was the normal before they ever did this, Kirwa-san overheard their conversation earlier with his friend as he was being invited to hang out but couldn't because of her. She made him her accomplice but doesn't have to feel tied down. He doesn't need to feel obligated to her, as to begin with, it was her all alone by herself, and he should also voice out his opinion and wants as well in their relationship. Although as they are friends for now or more like acquaintances, he blurts out that he likes being with Kirwa-san, which made her confused as she flustered a bit, stating what kind of nonsense he is spouting about. He also didn't understand what nonsense he is saying, but he explains that seeing her filled him with energy, basically a confession at this point. He embarrassingly said that he kinda enjoys the time they spent together all the time, and if it doesn't bother her, could she let him stay after school with her and would like to watch her draw her manga. She ultimately is a person that can't focus, constantly being watched, but if he is willing to talk about her manga with sometimes, she wouldn't mind, and that she would feel happy if he stayed and get to know more of her, as she explains with a face using her fingers that she is smiling and basically answering him yes, that he could spend time with her. This made him eager to learn, reading that face of her, and understand her expressions more or soon enough, as this made him happy upon hearing he could stay and watch her draw manga. thus ending our loving story as a boy got captured by a yandere who can't act like one as they enjoy the youth having one another through their hobby. This made Kirwa-san and him became more closer as their daily life includes one another and are happy together. Although they didn't become officially a couple yet, but I'm hoping to ship them together and be married, having 5 kids and living a long joyful life. The end. I hope you get your happy ending to peace out. Which we cut into another one-shot manga about a little sister hating her older brother but changed her attitude after one day finding out they're not blood related. The older broth always presume his little sister to hate him in a way he doesn't understand as they are blood related, which he always interact with her sister, but she always seemed hostile and negatives towards him, as her attitude and mood around him is bad. But one day their parents had them sit down and announce to them, revealing their relationship as brother and sister to be not real and they are not blood related. This shocked the little sister, letting out a small laugh under her breath as she has been probably waiting for this circumstances. 1 week later, after finding out they are not blood related, the little sister acted differently, being mad at him for being late and going home, as he promised to do so after school to spend time with her, as she has been waiting for a while. As they talked, she suddenly noticed a smell coming from him, which she noticed as something different. The sister became a yandere with dark eyes as she smells another stench of a woman in him. She questions who did he met and was it a woman, and is it because of that she is late? Ak thought scared to answer. She wants him to honestly give an explanation and not be buried underground, as she is a bit scary even though she started liking him more. Which is the end of our video. I hope you like it and sorry for adding a filler one shot as this have been a waste to not include.
The story starts as Sarah is approached by the MC, asking about her situation and wanting to hear her problems out. Upon hearing his words, she immediately left a sigh of bothersome, suggesting that he must just want to look good by taking pity on her, wondering if she would put out for him just because he was kind to her. Met with negativity, she brushed him off with insults and profanity. Later, as school ended, Sarah is once again beaten and bruised by her mother. As she got up in great pain, she found the day to be another unpleasant one. She indicated her mother was in a bad mood. She also remembered the MC talking to her today at school. She labels him as a creep for approaching her like that. She only wished that nothing happens tomorrow. As tomorrow arrives, the MC seems curious enough to follow her. Sarah questioned his motives as his house isn't on this road nor this way. The MC exclaims of being worried for her safety. Sarah let out her frustrated sigh, exclaiming that the MC must not jump in to try and save her so irresponsibility. She questioned if the MC would take responsibility when he takes action but makes things worse for her. The MC gradually approaches her more, even at the gym where she sat alone in the benches. He insists of treating her to lunch. Sarah didn't took this lightly and negatively suggests if she is some stray cat he picked up. As she declines the offer, she appreciates the good intention the MC has towards her, but being kind to her he might eventually want something in return. She points out that she wasn't hungry, but upon saying so her stomach suddenly growls of hunger. In the end she eventually gave in and was treated to a tasty bun. As she quietly ate her food, Sarah ponders why the MC is staring at her. The MC replies that she was cute, but Sarah is confused as what is so cute about someone covered in bruises and cuts add to the fact she is wearing an eye patch. Sarah ponders why is the MC even treating her to lunch and praising her looks despite not being close to one another. She negatively asks the MC to back off as she could see his motive clear as day, finding this gross also. Later that night she ponders on the swing on the playground, staring at the sweet bun the MC gave. She is confused, but somehow the MC gave her another food for dinner. In her head she could only ponder the MC having motives as to why he bought her food. Upon finding dinner to be unusual, she wonders if she's becoming a pet or something, as silence dawns on her. That night she could only eat in silence, savoring her food, exclaiming the whole situation to be gross. As the next day arrives in school, the MC once again approached Sarah with a delicious made bento. Upon seeing the MC made food for someone who he isn't even close with, she could only find his approach to be negative. Questioning what ingredients or unknown bad thing he put in it, exclaiming it's disgusting. She ponders if the MC is trying to impose his selfish kindness on her, trying to garner good karma and attention by putting effort into his food. She finds this to be so off-putting, betting that he's the kind of person to even write their girlfriend a love song for their birthday. As the next day arrives, Sarah is being forced to open her legs even more. As her mother tries taking a picture, she gets criticized for not smiling as she wants Sarah looking horrible in the picture. Sarah could only stand in silence with a fierce look. This made her mother to be enraged, questioning her gaze, venting her frustration as she owes her life to her mother, and if only she didn't came along she could have lived a good life. As the kicking continues, Sarah is left in tears to apologize for her actions and to obey her commands. Only in return she stops the beating. As the next day arrives in school, the MC didn't dare try approaching Sarah that day. Which after school she confronted the MC. He explained that it's because she seems like she won't like it in the first place. Sarah misunderstood the MC, figuring if he got tired of being kind towards her, and he probably realized that no matter how kind he was to her, she wants going to put out and moved on to the next girl. Even though she jokingly said this, she finds him to be genuinely kind, and since he is kind she wonders if she could ask the MC for something. She asked that if he could have his way with her, and hope he would take this chance, but upon hearing this the MC denies the offer. Even though Sarah reveals this would save her, she suddenly became negative, pondering that he doesn't want to save her, and just want her to be just happy enough that the MC won't feel bad looking at her, pushing the idea that it really was all for his gain and interest. That night Sarah is left depressed once again in the playground, exclaiming that she doesn't want to go home and face the same toxic atmosphere in her household. The next day arrives at the same sitting bench in the gym. The MC still made her food to eat at lunchtime. Sarah questioned if the MC feels good on taking care of such a pitiful girl by showing such mercy to someone weaker than him. She bets the MC hopes those weaker than him would rely on him and become dependent. She calls out that it must be nice to be on that high horse of him. She became honest, revealing that she can't stand that way of thinking and to not use her to validate his own existence. As school ended and Sarah was about to leave for home, the MC reveals liking her. Hearing this made her sigh again with frustration. She points out of being covered in bruises and is unfriendly. She only talked bad about him, wondering how the MC managed to fall in love with her. Sarah suggests that the MC is just horny and is acting in frustration. She points that he doesn't care anything for her, exclaiming the MC after all is aiming for that as collateral for his kindness, calling him out for being disgusting. That evening when Sarah got home, she felt a little bad about how he shot the MC down earlier and for being toxic despite being bought food for her dinner. She ponders of being a little nicer to him starting tomorrow. As she ate, her mother suddenly came into the room questioning the food she has and where she got the money for it, upon revealing that she got it from a classmate. Her mother grabbed her food and tossed it away, exclaiming that she should next time ask to give her something worthy. She suddenly got surprised as she was having a guest for tonight. Sarah sat down confused. Who's this guest? Her mother laughs as he is apparently an online creep who loves buying her tease pictures, where she forcefully took, and now revealed that wants to have her for the night. As the door opens, a bald and old guy introduced himself to Sarah in having a fun time. Sarah doesn't want to do anything with the guy and refuses the offer. Hearing this made the mother to shout and be angry with her. The guest doesn't mind and slowly rubs and went under her skirt, being gentle. But Sarah immediately kicked him in the face, making her mother worried. This made the guest to have a nosebleed and claims that she made a big mistake. Upon apologizing in return, she got beaten and bruised all over, causing him to be soft and leaving for today, wanting to come back once she heals. The next day arrives and the teacher and her classmates doesn't seem concerned about her well-being. The MC approached her with worry, questioning if she was all right. Sarah negatively answered, as one look at her would be obvious enough to tell that she isn't all right. Yet he still asks. She asks that it's enough trying to score nice points with her, as it's annoying. She also brushed him off, as her problems has nothing to do with him nor anything he can do to help her. She once again brought up if the MC could have his way with her, but knows to herself that he can't, which she points there is nothing he could do to help about her situation. She also pushed the idea that it's his fault this happened, as if the MC had his way then this wouldn't happen in the first place. Later in the afternoon, the MC wants Sarah to come to his house for the night. Sarah seems to get the idea of the MC wanting to protect her by abducting her. She called out the MC's idea to be childish, yet his motives are painfully clear but just plain weird. Despite having an interesting idea concerning him, she has doubts that the MC even have the guts to have his way with her, resulting in her agreeing to his idea. The MC assures of protecting her, as such she could relax that night. Sarah, hearing this, doesn't believe she could relax while being in the home of a guy they don't even like in the first place. Despite this, it beats going home to her house. She also claims as soon as found someone better she is done with the MC. However, she looks forward to their dinner tonight. The MC smiled happily hearing this, which made Sarah question his gesture. The MC expressed being a little excited about letting her stay in his home. Sarah pointed out that to him this might be like a fun little sleepover, but for her this is like taking refuge. She also spoke up about the MC having ulterior motives for playing savior. Not being able to do anything, she only asks to not at least try to make her so uncomfortable as she sees him being creepy. That evening, Sarah took a bath and even was lent a hoodie, which the MC apologizes for having the lack of proper women clothing. She doesn't mind about the size or what's on it, but she just doesn't like the idea that the MC is looking at her as she wore her boyfriend's shirt or something. Later, as the MC was about to cook, Sarah put on an apron to help out. Although the MC insists she doesn't need to, Sarah is persistent on doing the kitchen work also. She ponders if the MC is trying to make her dependent on him by pampering her. She put this thought aside, wanting to do whatever she can by herself and doesn't want to owe more than she has to. And as unfortunate as it is, she has no plans becoming dependent on him. The MC questioned if she cooks a lot and is familiar with the kitchen. As she answered never doing so, she also noted that she doesn't want to leave everything to him and wants to help out as possible. She asks for the knife in chopping up the vegetables. As she was cutting the ingredients, Say managed to get a cut, which resulted in her to sat down quietly as she got bandaged in her finger. The MC exclaims that for a pretty girl like her, getting hurt is such a pity. Sarah still receives this negatively, asking him to not be creepy as a cut or two more at this point won't matter anyway. The MC pointed out that he doesn't want Sarah to get hurt anymore, but she points out it has nothing to do with him though. But he still insists in pushing the idea. This made Sarah to be left defeated, making her to behave properly and not keep her waiting, or else she would help out no matter how much she get hurt. As the food was served, Sarah took a bite and suddenly started crying. The MC questioned if she was all right. Sarah couldn't contain herself as tears started falling. She asks that he does not look at her face, calling him out for being annoying and fussing over every little thing. She claims it's not as big a deal as he thinks it is, asking to be left alone, but Sarah could only ponder how long since she had a hot meal, as it tastes good. Later, as they get ready for bed, the MC once again asks that they should eat together again tomorrow. Sarah ponders why would she wants to do that, as it feels gross having him to watch her eat the whole time, but slowly she cannot deny his kindness and suggest rice and miso soup for breakfast. That night, the MC suggests sleeping on the floor and asks Sarah to take the bed. Sarah claims that his bed stinks and doesn't want it. She feels much more comfortable on the floor, denying his hospitality. She also points out if the MC would think that she would feel bad for him and suggest they both sleep together on the bed. calling him gross as Say giggles happily with a small smile. As they both sleep that night, the MC suggests she would fall asleep peacefully. Sarah then claims she won't be able to relax enough to sleep as she is in the same room as the MC, mocking his breathing to be rough and scary. As silence dawns for a moment, Sarah with a calming voice questions something serious. She wonders why the MC is going so far for her and if he would get anything out of this. 'Cause she know to herself that as bruised and full of cuts as her cannot be called cute at some point. She also points out her toxic personality being all negative in hospital no matter how kind he was. She also cursed and call him names. She wonders if the MC wants to do her badly, wondering if ugly people are his kink. To top it all, she questioned if the MC is a huge masochistic perv all along. The MC reveals of just wanting to save her from her dreadful circumstances, wanted to be kind to her, regardless of how she treats him, and want the bruises she has to heal physically and emotionally. Sarah hearing this made her breath a sigh of relief. Turning away and calling him gross but in a playful way. She also smiled with a pleasant feeling that night. As the morning arrives, she greeted the MC, wondering what is up with his relieved look on his face. She ponders if the MC was worried that she was gonna run away and be gone when he woke up. She claims that as long as the MC is useful to her, he doesn't need to worry about it, cheering him up to do his best. As she says this, her stomach growls. As they sat down and eat, the MC ponders if her parents will ask the police to search for her since she ran away and took refuge. Sarah points out that if they did end up doing that, they are the ones who would be arrested, assuring the MC they would be safe, and not have to be afraid of being branded as a kidnapper. Sarah points out that the MC would protect her after all, asking that the MC much see this through the end. As they headed for school, the MC exclaims it's kind of embarrassing going to school together, which would make them look like a couple. Sarah doesn't seem bothered about it, but calls the MC out for his disgusting delusions and things won't change anything if he keeps being this way. As they both sat in school being close to one another, the MC is seen happy. Sarah pointed out the grin on his face is so off-putting. She pointed out that even though they would be together at home, he still would want to be together at school also, but for her it's off-putting as the MC is special in this way. As lunchtime arrives, the MC seems to forgot to make her a bento box. Sarah with a smile asks that he shouldn't apologize for it, as she jokingly said of not having high hopes for him anyway. As she giggles happily, she already knew how busy and how caring he was this morning, even as far making breakfast. Being grateful for it, she thanked the MC and asks to make up for it. She is looking forward to dinner. As school ends, Sarah gets invited to go on an after-school date. She comments that the MC probably figure out that she's in his debt now and doesn't have any right to refuse his offer, calling him scum, but jokingly, she is happy to go and accept the offer. As they arrive near a food stall, Sarah gets questioned if she likes crepes. Upon revealing never having one, she asks that the MC doesn't have to buy her one as she is not that hungry. But in the end, the MC wanted her to experience getting one. Sarah is hesitant accepting the bought crepes as she was already satisfied enough getting dinner, but the MC insists she go ahead and try it. Upon taking a bite, she asks that the MC don't stare so much, calling him out for being a weirdo, but all she could savor was the sweetness tasting good. This experience made her found things to be kind of fun. As they went around shopping, the MC suggests buying clothes for her. She seemingly found a cute hoodie with the design she likes, but doesn't want the MC to go that far for her as he already given her plenty. But the MC comments that she is cute and wants to see her dressed up. She mocks the MC for being gross, but gives in as she just can't keep borrowing his clothes forever. As she tried it on, she gets complimented for wearing it immediately. Sarah ponders if this little flattery is enough to make her fall for him. She called him out for being gross, but she claims the happiness she gets right now, as it's the first time anyone has ever given her a present, wanting to take good care of it. As she got home, she is mesmerized and is happy about the clothes she got, even as far noticing the MC observing her. The MC is glad she liked upon it. Sarah exclaims this is the first time she ever worn such cute clothes ever, and back when she was young she would see all the kids around her with their fancy clothes. As a matter of fact, birthdays and Christmas didn't seem to exist for her. Which explains the hatred for it, as it was so obvious who the lucky ones were. She sighs again, pondering if only this happiness today could last forever. The MC assured Sarah of making her happy from now on. Hearing this made her giggled, questioning if his words were supposed to be a proposal, as it was gross enough that made her hungry. Upon being asked what she wanted for dinner, she answered with omurice, but upon noticing they seemingly forgot the eggs, she pouts. As she was really looking forward to tonight's dinner, being disappointed about it, she insists on buying some eggs, but upon leaving like she said she would. Hours passed by and she never came back to the MC. As days passed expecting Sarah at school, she arrives one day out of the blue, and it seems Sarah is badly bruised and beaten. The MC all along pondered about his worries as he knew something must have happened. He suggests approaching the police or teacher for help, but Sarah denies the kindness as he already has done enough. And no matter what bad things her parents do or how much they beat her, she would deal with it. She then exclaims as day after day he talked to her to the point of it being annoying. He made an effort to do so, even making lunch for her even though she never asked. He was so kind to her that it made her barf at the thought of it, which she finds it enough. As her tears fall, she wonders if she could ask for more. With teary eyes, she wanted to keep things just like this, cause if her parents get caught she surely won't be able to stay here. And she would hate this the most, as Sarah wanted to be next to the MC even only for a little while. At lunchtime the MC presented her with a homemade bento. It seems all the time she wasn't coming to school he kept on making it for her, expecting her arrival. It seems it's the omurice she wanted to eat. Sarah is thankful and is really happy right now, even though her home is hell, and thinks she would be able to bear it. As school ended, the MC questioned if Sarah is really going home. Sarah is definite on her answer, as today was plenty fun enough already and it's fine for her. The MC wants her to stay with him for a little longer, but Sarah insists they see each other again at school tomorrow. As Sarah was about to leave, the MC ponders heavily about the situation, as he knows to himself that if Sarah doesn't go home and her parents found out she's with the MC, there is a good chance she would end up even worse next time. And even if he begs the police to intervene, it might lead to a situation Sarah doesn't want in the first place. But he gets the feeling that if he let go of her right now, the MC would regret it for the rest of his life. The MC shouted of his feelings, asking that they should run somewhere far away together. Sarah wonders if he is actually an idiot, as if they did that it would mess his life too, even knowing that the MC still wants to stay with Sarah. But with a sigh of relief, it seems she just needed the push to take action and run away far together. Later that night they both started their plan of running away. Sarah questioned if the MC has somewhere in mind he wants to go. The MC honestly doesn't have a clue, as he just wanted to save her without having any sort of plan. Sarah exclaims of not being worried, as she is happy enough to hear the MC would be with her running away, which made her happy. Sarah with a fierce look knows that they would be fine without a plan. Even if they get caught, Sarah won't hate her for it. The MC exclaims they would for sure definitely get away, which Sarah finds the assurance to be comforting. The MC compliments her looks with a hat, calling her cute. Sarah finds his compliment to be quick-handed, criticizing him if this would all it takes for her to fall for him. Sarah comments if the MC wants to use other clothing, as they're disguised as used for hiding. The MC suggests her picking out a different outfit, but Sarah is fine with these clothes sticking with it. The MC questioned if Sarah is ready, where she is confident in their escape, having all their needs to set out, having everything packed indicating they are ready to go, and dig into the homemade lunch the MC packed. Shortly after they arrived at one of the train stations, the MC promises to protect Sarah where she could rest easy for their trip to escape. Sarah wonders if she looks anxious to him, as right now she feels very safe being with the MC and is counting on him. As they got off, the MC comments as Sarah seems to be having fun. Sarah reveals she is, as she was never allowed to go on family trips and definitely not school field trips either. She explains honestly this is the first time she was going somewhere far away, and it's even more fun for her being with the MC. As they headed to the park in the middle of the night, the MC apologized for not being able to get them a room to stay in. Sarah is fine with the situation being used to be outside, plus the MC is looking out for him, giving him a jacket to protect from the cold. Being thankful for his kindness, she also reveals actually having a lot of fun being just the two of them alone in the park at night. The MC suddenly wanted to tell Sarah something. He suddenly expressed his love for her. Sarah questioned the MC if she is fine with a woman like her, especially the one being covered in bruises and rude but also always talking down to him. She also caused so much trouble to him. The MC could only compliment her for always enjoying what she eats. And how cute she is whenever rice gets stuck around her mouth. Not only that, she also listens even though she seems to have no interest towards the topic. Lastly, she act cool but cute clothes is fond of her. As he tries to say more, Sarah exclaims that his words are enough and she already got his point. She also get how he feels towards her and how dangerous his feelings for her. The MC suddenly confessed, asking Sarah to go out with him. Without hesitation, Sarah agrees to going out, making their relationship official as Sarah asks to take care of her properly. As their moments seemingly stood still, a dark and scary figure stood behind her holding a knife. Sarah was suddenly held at knife point. She exclaims that the MC should go home, but he refuses to let her face this situation alone. Sarah just wanted the MC to be safe, but her mother seemingly doesn't want both of them to be let go. Her mother, frustrated, claims that the MC put unnecessary thoughts in her daughter's head, which she claims of not forgiving the MC, wanting him dead at this point. Sarah, with fear and tears in her eyes, doesn't want the MC to be involved, trying to calm the situation by claiming she would obey her orders from now on, just not to touch the MC. But her mother doesn't seem fond of listening. As she vents her frustration and anger as they seem to be looking down on her, having fun with some guy, exclaiming she would punish them off. As the MC tries to stop her, as Sarah almost seemingly gets a knife to her face. Everything suddenly went black and unknown, leaving the MC to only see darkness. But shortly after waking up, he seemingly have no recollection of what happened after that, and only an unfamiliar ceiling gazed upon him as he was apparently in the hospital. Waking up beside him was Sarah. The MC is glad to find her all right. Sarah worries that she isn't, as she might be unharmed, but the MC got seriously hurt because of her. Their situation was saved by a passerby who lives in the neighborhood, who apparently stumbled upon them, stating that the MC could have died. She profusely called him out for being an idiot, questioning how dumb he could be, as she claims she is not worth it. She didn't want the MC to save her if it means getting him hurt in the process. As tears fall down her eyes, she is so worried about him, and didn't know what she was going to do if he never woke up ever again. But she also didn't forget to thank the MC for saving her, and is grateful for surviving. Shortly after the situation calmed down, which her mother was arrested for the crimes committed, the result of which was that, with no parents, Sarah then became a ward of state. The MC apologizes as the police ended up getting involved. Sarah doesn't mind this, as it wasn't his fault, as her mother was the one who caused all of this in the first place. She exclaims of being sad that they won't be able to see each other anymore, although finally free of the nightmare. She thought they would be happily together forever, but Sarah doesn't know if they could do anything to achieve that. The MC, hearing this, wanted to hug Sarah, but she only talked down on him, as it would be a lot cooler if he had just done it instead of asking. As their final day of being together ends, they were inseparable until the very last second. They promised to each other they would meet again, as 5 years passed by since they made that promise. They once again met up in the park bench. The MC had no way of getting in touch with her, as it was hard finding her. Sarah apologizes for this hardship, as she could have been the one to go since she knew where he lived, but on her mind she kept pondering she would be causing more trouble, so she never did. She praises the MC a good job for finding her, praising him for doing well if he was a stalker, as it a little scary also. The MC proposed of living together with her. Sarah is shocked to hear his words, wondering if he was even listening to her. But Sarah is confused, as she might even caused more trouble and she doesn't want to do that ever again. Sarah points out that 5 years ago the MC talked to her every single day, and even though she never asked for his kindness, he did it without anything in return for it. The MC was sickeningly nice to Sarah, and even if he got hurt saving her, he bought plenty of happiness. She couldn't dare asks for more. The MC wants her to asks for more, as he promises to make her even more happier from now on forevermore. Sarah seemingly doesn't want to asks for more, as by being here the MC is already happy, but she doesn't think she could make the MC happy, in fact the opposite, but the MC is firm on making them both happy together. Sarah with tears questioned if she could really stay with him, which the MC doubles down as he is now begging Sarah to stay with him. She suddenly grabbed hold of him, as she cried with tears of joy. She claims that they would never be apart again and she would not be letting go, exclaiming her love for him over and over again as she loves him so much. Shortly after, the MC invites Sarah to head over to his place right now. It seemingly sounds bothersome for her, but she once again talks badly if the MC was trying to take advantage of a crying girl, mocking him for the creep he was. But she knows herself the best that the MC is not that kind of person. Sarah then exclaims of being hungry, wanting to eat the MC delicious cooking of curry and omurice, pondering that she would be a little greedy towards him as the food the MC makes is delicious. Thus the happy ending of this manga, but we then transition to the happy life of the MC and Sarah. At home the MC brought a lot of ingredients, as he looks forward to making a lot of food for her, which Sarah does as she is so fond of his delicious cooking, and she probably looks forward to spending time with her going forward. She smiles happily waiting. All she could ever ponder was that she could get to be next to the MC for the rest of her life, which is what she is looking forward to the most. After a few days, Sarah is seemingly thinking serious about a certain problem where the MC seemingly noticed this behavior of her. Sarah, with a serious look, asks that he doesn't worry about it, even so the MC insists on hearing her out. Sarah pointed out the MC always being so direct regardless of how bad she feels. She reveals as day after day he cooked delicious meal for her, she ultimately gained weight. After work, Sarah worries the MC must be tired too, as he doesn't need to pick her up, but the MC is worried about her, where Sarah pointed out he is such a meddler and a worrywart, but because of this and got concerned for her, it led to who she is now, being thankful for coming to pick her up as always as they go home together. At home the MC suggests going outside for a meal due to getting his paycheck that day. Sarah is happy he gets to do gestures like this, but insists he should spend on himself, and she also pointed out being on a diet, but upon saying this her stomach grumbled. This immediately changed her mind, being embarrassed as she wanted to change clothes before heading out. She also pointed out of starting dieting tomorrow and to stop indulging in her so much. In the park, the MC packed lunch for them that day, but Sarah asks that he should take it easy on days off, as making these by hand must be hard on him, but Sarah is happy that he always think about her happiness, which she then has plans later tonight, of making the MC happy both mentally and physically. The MC is confused, which Sarah brushes her statement off. At home the MC questioned if Sarah loves him for assurance, but it seems she really like and love him also every single day, and she also liked the part where he also adores and is always thinking about her happiness, making Sarah to express her love towards him. This made Sarah felt embarrassed about the situation. Later that night they both headed out at night, where the MC is grinning, exclaiming of feeling like on the edge of his seat. Sarah also felt the same way, being excited as in the old days she felt scared and lonely, but as of right now she is happy being with him, which she pointed out that it kinda bothers her how gentle and caring his hands are, And as of this moment nothing scares her anymore, even if she has any fear the MC would be there for her being by her side. Hearing this made Sarah question if is it alright for her to be so happy, but the MC plans to make her even happier, thus leaving the night filled with happiness. The MC the next day suggests eating together for tomorrow as well. Sarah knows his motives of just wanting to watch her eat. The MC couldn't help it as he finds her so cute. With no other choice, Sarah suggests that the MC go straight home quickly as she also looks forward to eating together with him. That night arrived and Sarah is crying happily with tears of joy.
The next day the MC once again forgot to buy eggs for their dinner tonight, which she was looking forward for dinner, as she insists on buying the eggs as she feels having omerous today, but this time he learned from his mistake and wanted to go with her as a way to protect and be sure she is safe as to avoid any more red flags, which she is grateful as she reminds him of being reliable at times like these. As the MC prepared their omerous, Sarah intervenes wanting to help him but insists she just sit down, although she doesn't want to be spoiled and make her rely on him even more, but she goes on to remind him that she already can't live without him, being more and more dependent on him as she looks at him admiring his personality. As the night falls, Sarah bids goodnight and thanks the MC for working hard, but that's not all. She also is thankful for everything, but she suddenly questions if it's really okay to say goodnight as she have the best she wants next to him, which the MC assures her as they fall asleep in each other's arms. The very next morning, the MC doesn't realize it's already evening as he was sleeping so peaceful and were very tired from their late night activities last night. Sarah serves the MC omerous in a messy way, asking the MC to ignore its look, which he ate without complaining, thus making Sarah fall in love with him even more. The MC explains afterwards that he is sorry for oversleeping on his day off, which she doesn't mind at all if that's what's been bothering him, as this is also an opportunity for them to laze around together and cuddle some more starting tomorrow also. As another day comes, Sarah finds his food made with love to even more delicious. As such, she wants to eat his cooking forever, which she unknowingly blurts out, embarrassing herself. As the new year comes, they are out in the garden playing with fireworks as the MC reminds her not to hurt herself. As such, he is still a worry rat towards her, but she doesn't think he is that nosy, rather she is glad, as the person she likes worries and cares about her, and it's not something she is taking in for granted, and that's why in the future if this goes on it would make her even more happy. On a certain night the MC decided to gift Sarah a new loungewear which she likes it very much and praises it for being cute and warm. The MC all along planned to sleep with her together that night, which Sarah smiles knowing her man knows how to make her happy. The new year is about to end in a few days, which Sarah really liked eating burgers, and the MC suggests they should eat this again next year, indicating he will be with her next year, which made her even more happy. And the year after the next year, Sarah wants to be with him long after that, as she finally met someone who makes her feel this way, which she looks forward to it year after year. The next Halloween the MC questions if Sarah would wear a Halloween costume, but she explains not even wearing one, even she was a child and it might be too late for that. Although she would be happy giving him fan BF service by cosplaying if it makes him happy, which he requests a maid outfit as a man of class. As Sarah heeds the request of his boyfriend, he compliments her for being too cute. As such, she is grateful to have him around if this makes him happy, to which in this case she asks trick or treat, in which the MC requests trick, indicating their nighttime activities to even more lengths, showcasing a healthy relationship. As our story is nearing the MC one day came home late, which he apologizes to Sarah for doing so. She explains that she isn't mad or anything but more like worried, and to at least let her know beforehand if he would be late. She questions his cause as to why he was late. The MC all along got her favorite sweets from the popular bakery, which she always wanted to have, and blushes at his kind gestures for giving him for his late arrival,
The
Thus
MC questioned Sarah if she wants anything for Christmas, but she revealed of how her family was she doesn't really get receiving Christmas presents. Sarah is already grateful and overjoyed as she gets to eat his delicious cooking and having a comfortable home. Even if Sarah asks for more, nothing comes to her mind, but if she has to say something about it. Sarah wants the MC for herself. She immediately realized the embarrassment of her words, wanting to clear it up as she wants to spend Christmas with him. The MC understood this and wanted to fulfill her wishes, which made even further look forward to it. Sarah seems to give the MC chocolates for White Day, but it seems she messed up, resulting in a later date. She revealed making this for the first time. The MC, seeing her efforts, wanted the rejects too. Even though they are failures, she still made them for him. Hearing this made Sarah to be really glad that she fell in love with him. Upon waking up in the morning, Sarah is surprised being seen in a cat outfit today. The MC exclaims of loving the look. As the next day arrives, the MC seemingly noticed that Sarah likes to eat the bread she has. She pointed out this was her favorite pastry, but besides that, back then this was the first food she ever got from him, reminiscing the time the MC approached her helpless self. Sarah ponders as the MC probably didn't remembered, but back then she was covered in bruises with a hateful look in her eyes, but also was hard to approach, and it probably took the MC courage to speak someone like her, indicating this was the medium for them to converse and the bread he gave when she was hungry. Sarah wouldn't tell the MC the main reason, as it's embarrassing, as she could only look at him with a pleasant look. The next afternoon, Sarah arrives back home where she smelled the cooking of curry. Overjoyed, she really likes his cooking and is thankful even though he came back from work. She also exclaims of doing her best. The MC is confused as Sarah slowly revealed like washing dishes and giving him the sexy look, as a little surprised for later tonight. As the MC came back from work, Sarah asks if he would like dinner, a bath, or perhaps a welcome home hug from his significant other. As Valentine's arrived, the MC gifted Sarah a present, making her happy as today is White Day also. It seems she was pleased as the person she likes returned her feelings, which made her happy and expressed their love to one another. Shortly after, Sarah is crying and breathing heavily. Upon asking her condition, it seems she caught the hay fever, apologizing for making the MC worry for nothing, as he was a worrywart all along. But she is glad the MC is looking out for her. The next morning arrives. Sarah is found to be cute as she is wearing a dress, but back then she couldn't as she was covered in bruises, but thanks to him this was changed for the better. Even as the MC left for work, she gets a farewell hug and kiss from Sarah, asking that he should do his best at work. As the days off came, the MC is anxious as it's raining, but Sarah is happy as it's just the two of them at home today and will make sure he has the best day off the MC ever had. As the night arrives, the MC doesn't want to sleep in early today, even though he has work for tomorrow. Sarah is pondering if they should stay up this late, but with a fierce look in her eyes, she wanted to stay up late with him tonight, indicating their lovey-dovey making time. Their daily life continues as the MC always praises her for being so cute, even though back then she was negative about it and talking him down, which Sarah appreciates and is thankful for loving her every single day.
On a sunny morning, Fuji worried about his gym clothes nowhere to be found, wondering if he left it at the changing room. As he was walking towards the hallway, he suddenly saw Kurumi-san, mesmerized by her beauty as she walked in a dignified manner with her adoring presence. Fuji always dreamed about having a woman like her. Fuji-kun somehow wanted to talk to her and get closer, but he suddenly got bumped into, which they apologized to him, calling out his name incorrectly. They bicker back and forth wondering what's his name. They laughed at him as they can't remember the name of someone so gloomy, making Fuji-kun sad at his encounter with fellow classmates not remembering his name. Unbeknownst to him, Kurumi-san, as soon as she got home, her room is filled with Fuji-kun's picture plastered all over the walls, which upon being close to him, she suddenly breathed heavily as she has the yandere crazy vibes.
collecting even the smallest, simplest things that Fuji-kun ever had in his life. Kurumi-san is apparently a yandere that loves him very dearly, which he somehow doesn't know as she doesn't reveal much of her affection towards him. On the other hand, Fuji-kun is determined to know more about Kurumi-san and to get her to know his name at least by graduation, but she already knew it all too well as she get wetter than the waterfalls thinking about him. The very next day, Fuji-kun panics as he seemingly is worried of having trouble finding his eraser, wondering what his course of action is. But to his surprise, Kurumi-san suddenly drops an eraser in front of him with her calm and cool demeanor. Fuji-kun wonders if his dream girl really lent him an eraser. He wonders if Kurumi noticed his troubled state and decided to help him, pondering as to not only is she beautiful, but also got the personality of the goddess. But he suddenly got called out by a bunch of bullies, questioning his fidgety behavior that's creeping them out. The other classmate told his friend to stop messing with Fujima, which Fuji-kun on the other hand suddenly got depressed as he probably thought Kurumi also thought the same way towards him, reasoning that she only helped him because she was probably annoyed seeing him all flustered, which he suddenly left the eraser on her desk with a note on it. As soon as she got home, Kurumi breathes heavily, wanted to suck the living soul out of him as she finally got hold of his eraser, which Fuji-kun panics if he should have returned it with a box of sweets or something, which he also praised her eraser for smelling nice, which also turns out she doesn't hate him. More like she absolutely wants to have his babies and have him in a 4x4 cell and 24/7 having babies with Fuji-kun. As the days goes by, once a month Fuji-kun is outside buying comics, which he is happily wandering outside the mall. He suddenly spotted the girl of his dreams named Kurumi-san. Fuji-kun panics as this is the first time he ever saw her in casual clothes. He ponders wanting to try out and reach out for her to have a conversation, but he hesitated, remembering the words of his classmates calling him a total kill vibe, but also a gloomy and creepy classmate, which made Fuji-kun stopped in his actions as he doesn't want to ruin Kurumi-san's day, which he also thought that Kurumi probably wouldn't be able to enjoy her day off if he ever ran into him. But unbeknownst to him, Kurumi had other intentions for being there as back home. She is obsessively talking pictures of Fuji-kun and circling his entire shopping course laid out, which she obviously followed him. On the other hand, Fuji-kun wonders what does Kurumi-san does in here, hoping to one day go shopping together. Although he sees this as far-fetched from reality, it doesn't hurt to daydream and be like a loser like you who's watching on not having a girlfriend and one hand on your underpants. On school, Fuji-kun is practicing by the tree to make a better impression by saying a normal greeting, doing his best. As today he really want to greet Kurumi-san, the one he dreamed off. As he was practicing, he suddenly said good morning to his fellow classmate behind him, which they laughed at him as the gloomy guy just greeted them good morning, calling him gross, which they discuss in front of him that people would be depressed if people thought they were friends, which made Fuji-kun depressed afterwards. He suddenly degraded himself as a good morning from someone like him is a bother to people. But unknowingly, Kurumi-san is above the tree like a hawk recording the whole thing, which back at home she is busy listening to his voice over and over. Even until 7 in the morning she is flustered and wet under. She couldn't help but go crazy over his voice, listening to it every day. Fuji-kun, on the other hand, thought of other ways to greet her and to get closer to her. The next day, Fuji-kun is chattering with a fellow loser classmate, revealing to Fuji that he managed to got confessed by 10 of the seeing women as easy prey. Fuji is hooked, asking for advice to talk to. His friend urges him to hook women with conversation. As his friend chatter on being a passionate talker, Fuji-kun took a glimpse peek towards Kurumi. His friend notices this, which he immediately explained that he wants to get to know her a little better. His friend already told him to give up on pursuing Kurumi's hold, as he certainly doesn't have any. Chance, to cheer himself up, he decided to go to the bookstore, which unknowingly to both of them Kurumi followed them, disguised in heavy clothing behind them. On the other hand, Fujikuin is wondering if he should approach Kurumi by mentioning she looks like a character from the book he read, which would be obviously make him look like a creep. The very next day, the class decided to switch seats, which Fujikuin is excited as he got to seat up close to Kurumi-san. Fujikuin panics and tried to calm himself down. He immediately greeted her, introducing himself loudly as he could. Fujikuin panics as he has never done anything like this before and thought he overreacted. Although Kurumi doesn't seem to mind as she already knew him, this made Fujikuin happy and got a nosebleed. His bully classmates suddenly interrupted him, claiming that he's got a nice seat, which he suggested switching over seats, pressuring Fujikuin even more as he announced that everyone else would be disappointed to be near a gloomy guy like him. Fujikuin couldn't came up with an answer as he is pressured in handing over his seat tickets. But fortunately, he didn't find Fujikun's ticket, leaving him to be dragged off. Back at home, Kurumi is breathing heavily, holding something. Apparently, she got a hold of Fujikun's ticket, exhaling happily as she doesn't want anyone else to have it. Back at home to Fujikuin, he couldn't believe he talked to a woman. We are suddenly introduced to a natural glossy-haired woman with makeup that's barely there, which she is perfectly crafted, as her charm was her adorable countryside cuteness. She apparently a killer towards gloomy guys, giving the impression she likes them, making them an easy target. As Fukuda bumped into Kurumi, the two of them are friends and are very close to one another, although Kurumi suddenly dropped a book from her hand, causing Fukuda to pick it up. Upon seeing the book, she suddenly spotted a picture of Fujikuin, pondering if Kurumi has feelings for the gloomy guy. But to her surprise, Kurumi didn't deny this and found her reaction to be so cute. She questions why is she interested to the gloomy guy, but upon finding more pictures of him on her, she ultimately ponders the question if Kurumi is planning to exile the gloomy, as she is confused by the sheer number of photos Kurumi has. Soon Fukuda accepted the realization that Kurumi really likes the gloomy guy, although she can't accept this, questioning Kurumi as she pushed the idea of her not being a good match for Fujikuin. As such, she needed someone of a high-spec hot guy. Kurumi questions Fukuda as she apparently liked quiet people, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Yuka explained that it's her ultimate goal and everyone else is just a background character, which she denies Fujikuin. Kurumi ponders that Fukuda is very complicated, which Fukuda decided to check out Fujikuin on what's he like. As both Fukuda and Kurumi checked Fujikuin out, she really can't see anything worthwhile to him, as she describes him as a gloomy guy, telling Kurumi to wake up and to date someone more of a high-spec handsome guy, which Fujikuin apparently heard as he pushed the idea that Kurumi-san would prefer someone like that, which Fukuda apparently feel that he's thinking something self-depreciating. Fukuda, not accepting this, couldn't stand by and let someone like him have Kurumi, which Fukuda uses her cute and girl skills to invite both of them gloomy glasses guys to eat lunch together, which shocked the three of them as Fukuda is determined to make Kurumi see the light. They all both sat at the rooftop eating lunch together, which Fujikuin questions what are this group like, considering the mix-up of a gloomy and cheerful school beauty. Fujikuin questions in a low voice, whispering to his friend as to why they are suddenly eating lunch together, which his friend is misunderstanding that he gets the perception Fukuda is in love with him. Suddenly Fukuda called out to Fujikuin, questioning if he's good at something. Fukuda decided to berate him, his subject's hobbies, his ranks, degrading Fujikuin that he doesn't have any standout qualities, leaving Fujikuin in an awkward position. This made Fuji feel so small, although he fires back that he looks up to Kurumi-chan, who is always so confident. She tried to make Fuji look even more bad, pushing the idea that Kurumi doesn't like guys with no standout qualities. As she looks at Kurumi, she suddenly whispers, all of his hobbies and great qualities like being great at calligraphy and also good at swimming, that's not all, but he also excels at their school. Upon hearing this, Fukuda made a disturbed but also confused expression as her image of Fuji-kun slightly changed. Fuji-kun, on the other hand, was surprised of suddenly having lunch with Kurumi. As he got back to seat, he tried looking for his physics book, questioning if he forgot it. Kurumi, on the other side, offered hers to help him, which Fuji-kun questions if this is really okay. This also made Fuji-kun relieved, as it's apparent now that Kurumi is not turned off by how pathetic he was during lunch, which she suggested putting their desk together. Fuji-kun suddenly panicked as he got so close to Kurumi. He couldn't pay attention much to class, as it's the first time a living woman sat right beside to him. He complimented her long eyelashes and her smell being nice. After class, Fuji-kun is now in heaven, which as he wanted to go home, he suddenly remembered that he should thank Fuji-kun before he leave, which could be also a way for them to get close if he does this. As Fuji-kun arrives at the classroom, he suddenly peeked, seeing Kurumi doing something heinous in the classroom. She saw Kurumi put the physics book they shared in a plastic container, which upon seeing Fuji-kun hid himself, questioning if perhaps does she totally hate Fuji-kun, which in hindsight totally misunderstood them. We suddenly got a background check of Kurumi before in elementary, which she is always left out, as apparently she is a gloomy and loser person. Before we cut back to the present, where Kurumi flawlessly read out the letter in English, which Fuji-kun looks up to her being so confident and composed, but compared to him, he is a loser, gloomy person with no confidence, as he gets called out by the teacher, but all he could ponder about is the sad, degrading thought of Kurumi being disappointed at him, which starting today he will show his skills off and redeem himself somehow. In the women's bathroom, Fukuda is questioning if it's admiration she has, pushing the idea that has she finally figured out how useless Fuji-kun is, wondering if she has come to her senses. She looked satisfied and questioning how can Kurumi admire someone who she barely had a proper conversation with, but to Kurumi denies this, as apparently she is just bad at expressing herself and not good at showing her emotions. Which Fuji-kun idea of a person towards Kurumi is not what he thinks she is, which as for now she rather not have Fuji-kun know more about her. And as this time this distance is perfect for her, but suddenly an announcement is put up, stating that for the next field trip both of them would be paired up with the person next to them, which Fuji-kun is happy, as this is finally a chance for him to redeem himself. Kurumi, on the other hand, has mixed feelings with this, as they are finally embarking on a journey to know more about one another. Fuji-kun excitedly looked up clothing fashion that are recommended for leaving good impressions. Fuji-kun wanted to show something good to Kurumi-san. As he was browsing, his classmates question if he's into clothes like that. He suddenly panicked, questioning he's the friend with the bully. Royusk sat down, questioning why he's into clothes like that. Fuji-kun explains that he wants to leave a good impression for the upcoming field trip, and he thought he should put some effort into his outfit. He suddenly got surprised, as the upcoming field trip is in gym clothes, which made him depressed by hearing this, but suddenly Royusk grabbed him in the cheeks and face, shocking Fuji-kun. To his surprise, Royusk mentions his eye being a nice shape, showing non-straight actions by complimenting his big eyes, recommending if he wants to polish his looks more than clothes, and he should change his hair and eyebrows, suggesting lifting or cutting his hair. Fuji-kun is thankful, as such he decided to trim his hair, wanting to do his best on the field trip. As the field trip came, Fuji-kun arrives at school, which he suddenly decided to show off his new looks. Royusk is overhearing the noise, suddenly came to check up on it. To his surprise, Fuji-kun became a full-blown Nobita, shocking everyone, making himself a laughingstock, but to Kurumi found this to see his rare looks. Fuji-kun regrets this as it was a big mistake to do. This, as the school field trip starts, Fuji-kun is still determined even after hearing disappointments towards his new looks. As the day just got started, both Fuji-kun and Kurumi is right next to each other looking over the plants on the mountains. Kurumi is looking at her phone, which Fuji-kun is starting to understand that she may be bored on his talking. As their day goes by, Fuji-kun doesn't seem to have things going well for him. Still hopeful that he might still redeem his images, Fuji-kun after a while thought it might be hopeless, but he suddenly got called out laughing at him for his look, calling him a total disaster, calling him out like a Nobita. The woman in the middle suddenly points out that Fuji-kun needed to be more like her boyfriend who can give subtle gifts. Fuji-kun understands this as he is a gloomy guy with no sense of style and doesn't have confidence when it comes to giving gifts, but he still at the very least want to get closer and convey his feelings for her. As he decides to reach onto a flower, Kurumi hastily calls out to his name in a panic. Upon doing so, he suddenly fell, which Kurumi-san also fell down the hole. Fuji-kun panics as it's about a meter deep, which he almost thought he was about to die. Kurumi questions if he could stand, wanting to catch up with everyone as they got left behind. Fuji-kun tried standing up but is seen hurt from his knees. Seemingly he sprained-headed. Kurumi decided to lend a hand, but Fuji-kun profusely declined, which he apologizes for doing so. Kurumi on the other hand questions as to why he strayed off the path earlier, to which Fuji-kun tried handing out a flower, wanting to give it to her. But suddenly the flower wilted due to the fall, which both of them looked in shocked. Fuji-kun seemingly is saddened by this, which he apologizes for only trying to hand out a stem and bothering her for the smallest thing. To her surprise, Fuji-kun suddenly teared up, crying about the situation, as it might seem like he is more of a creep, and tries pushing Kurumi away, which Fuji-kun puts his head down and asks not to hate him. He explains that he thought Kurumi hated him, and he at least wanted to be someone who she doesn't dislike, which he tried really hard, and in the end it doesn't even matter. Linkin Park, by the way. He suddenly got stopped as Kurumi blurts out she doesn't hate him even if he fails or get teased about, as he doesn't give up and keep trying over and over, which Kurumi on the other hand has given up on so many things and lives on hiding for who she really is, which she thinks Fuji-kun is amazing despite his situation, which Kurumi reveals that he is someone whom she looks up to, shocking Fuji-kun in a dazed. But suddenly a sudden noise could be heard, which Royusk suddenly questions both of them, as apparently a teacher was looking for them afterwards as they were having fun. Kurumi on the other hand picked up the destroyed petals and stem of the flower as Fuji-kun feels of getting closer to Kurumi-san. The story ends as we await for more chapters of the timid gloomy creep and the confident and good looking Kurumi-san. Peace out.